Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. So what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about this Gerber MP-400 Compact Sport. And this is a pretty decent little multi-tool. I've had it for good probably 4 or 5 years now. So I've got a lot of use with it, and it's a pretty decent multi-tool. Now, as a little everyday carry multi-tool, it's more of a mid-sized tool, and for a mid-sized tool, it's relatively lightweight, weighs right around 6 ounces. So that's doable. It's also a good tool that you could just throw in something like maybe like a survival kit, maybe leave it in a vehicle, a tactical kit, whatever you want. It's a tool that's affordable enough that you could just kind of, throw it somewhere and forget about it. They cost around 30 bucks, at least as of the making of this video. So that's good. They're nice and affordable. Now, as you can tell, this is a multi-tool that's featuring Gerber's kind of proprietary quick access plier feature. And that's an interesting feature. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of these quick deploy pliers. They're cool, but I feel like you give up maybe too many other features to get these. So really, if you're going to get this tool, you got to be somebody who really uses the pliers more than anything else for that to be worth it. So as you can tell, you can get these pliers out very quickly with one hand. You just press down on that center button on both sides, and then gravity will just do the rest, and the pliers just slide out. Now there is a little bit more kind of wobble in the tool because of that. It just has to have a little bit of a tolerance there, but so that's kind of cool. You can get these pliers out very quickly. Now if we actually take a look at these plier heads, they are on the little bit of the smaller side. They're not huge, really heavy duty pliers, so I wouldn't try to do anything too heavy with these, but they do have really nice fine tips on there, which is really important. I really like that, especially if you're doing things like fishing, taking out fish hooks, all sorts of stuff. I really like that fine plier head. And actually, I'll just bring out another tool here just for a little bit of a comparison sake. This is a Leatherman Blast. This features a pretty typical size. This is Leatherman's full size, pliers. And so as you can tell, these are just a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, just not quite as heavy duty. Now as we look at the wire cutters on here, you'll notice there is no hard wire cutting capability on there. It's just standard wire cutters, so standard copper coated wires are going to be fine, but cutting through like maybe like steel fencing or heavier duty stuff, this isn't really going to be able to do that. If you look at the Leatherman, you'll notice that there is actually a hard wire cutter at the base there. So a little bit of a loss of functionality there compared to some of the other stuff. Now, the way you access the rest of your tools in here is going to be by opening this tool up. So, you pull this out of the pouch, how do you get to your tools? You're going to have to pull those pliers out every time, and then you're going to be able to look in there and pull your tools out. So that's not quite as convenient as some, maybe higher end tools. For example, this is the Victorinox Swiss Tool Spirit. This thing, you don't have to open it up or anything. The tools are all right there on the exterior, and you can just pop them out and get to them really fast. So a little bit more involved when you're talking about this Compact Sport, but that's alright though. You can still get them relatively quickly. So as we look in there, now this is, as I mentioned, just a little bit older version of the tool. The current one, Gerber did go through some rebranding and some different stuff. The current one's going to be slightly different, but for the most part, they're the same tool. So the first tool we're going to look at here is the blade. Now these tools are locking, so that's really nice. You just have this slide lock on the side there. It's very secure. I don't have any issues with the polymer on there. It's been very durable for me. And these tools do lock up very tightly. That is nice. There's not a lot of wobble in there. It does feel like a good high quality tool. Now you will notice that as the blade comes out on the top there, it is going to be a little bit higher, so for cutting, it's not going to be quite as convenient like if you're cutting on a cutting board or something, just because that blade is so much higher. Again, if we look at a tool more like this, that blade's going to be on the bottom side, and it's going to be easier to cut with. But minor downside. Now, the blade on the current one is just a little bit different. It's more of a straighter blade. It doesn't have as much of a belly in the blade right there. And the blade steel on here is nothing impressive. It's just going to be like a 440A steel. So really not the best steel in the world. I'm usually not much for serrations, but with as bad as this steel is, you almost need them just to be able to, kind of get through stuff. So really not the best blade in the world. But you do have one. It is on there, and as long as you keep it sharp, you should be able to do all right. Now, speaking of the steel again, so the steel on this tool is not all that great in the sense that it does get some rust spots on it. You'll notice there on the plier heads, I have a little bit of rust. And I think that's also partly just due to the finish. It's just more of a kind of a matte finish, and that just opens it up for rust a little bit more. So moving on, we have the pliers, or I'm sorry, not the pliers, the screwdriver right here. Here's just a Phillips head screwdriver. It's a good screwdriver. It doesn't slip or anything in the screws. It fits a good broad range of screws, so I like it. But you will notice that it is kind of short and stubby, and that's partly just due to this quick deploy pliers. That feature just takes up so much of this tool that you don't have a lot of extra space here for the other tools. If we look at things like this Leatherman Blast with a more traditional style that just folds open, you're going to get more capabilities. So you're going to get drivers like this. Compare those, you have a lot more reach with this Leatherman, and that does matter. There are jobs where you do need to reach in a little bit more. So kind of short, stubby drivers. Next up, you do have a cap lifter and a more medium size flathead. So that's good. Now, on this side, your first tool is going to be a can opener. It's a decent enough can opener. You will notice I have a little bit of corrosion on there, just again from that steel. But so there's your can opener. Now it's more of kind of like a Wenger style can opener. Now I prefer to go with a style that's more like this Victorinox. So it actually has that flathead screwdriver on the top there. Now, I actually have a video out comparing Wenger versus Victorinox can openers. I do a little bit of a head-to-head test there, and I do like this Victorinox one just a little bit better. It just adds a little bit extra functionality. But this works out just fine. It opens cans, perfectly. So, moving on, we have a small flathead. So, if they'd gone with this, they could have kind of combined both of those tools, but, they didn't. So, this is what you have, small flathead, and then we have yet another flathead. We have a large flathead. So, as you're probably getting the sense, there's, basically on this tool you have your pliers, your drivers, and you have a knife and some scissors. So not a ton of extra tools on here. So your final tool on here is going to be those scissors. Now these are really nice scissors, and I really do like having scissors on my multi-tool. That's, for me, it's probably my most used tool. These are really good scissors. Now they are a little bit on the small side, but they're really sharp. They really cut well. They're Fisker scissors essentially. If you didn't know, Gerber is owned by Fiskers. So these are really nice scissors, and they cut very nicely. They'll take make quick work of things like blister packs and packaging and all sorts of stuff, zip ties, whatever. So that's your tool set on here. It's a little bit on the light side as far as the tools go, but you really, what you're really getting for that is those quick deploy pliers. So taking a look at the sheath on here, the sheath is very nicely made. I actually probably have used the sheath a lot more than the tool. It's just a good basic nylon sheath that has some Velcro on there, and you slide the tool in there and it fits great. And actually a lot of other tools fit in here really nicely as well. Currently I've been carrying my my Swiss Tool Spirit, and this is my everyday carry tool. I've just been carrying the Swiss Tool Spirit in here, and it fits great. Now on the back, as it just comes with a standard nylon loop, but this one I actually did sew on a molly lock, and that is a really huge improvement to this. It makes it so that you can just put it on your belt and take it off very quickly. You don't have to thread it through your belt like you traditionally would. And also I can slide this on molly gear or whatever I want very quickly. So that's a really nice upgrade. So it's a good sheath, relatively flat, very durable. I've been carrying this every day for probably 2 years, and it's still holding up well. So that sheath is a high point. So moving on, for some competition, if you're looking at this as maybe like a good everyday carry tool, something just to have with you a lot, or as something maybe you're thinking about taking out in the outdoors and maybe backpacking with, I would steer you towards potentially the Leatherman Juice S2. Now, the S2 doesn't have locking tools, it just has the detents. However, for a lot of, just kind of everyday carry, type situations, you really don't need the locking tools. And the Juice S2 is going to be, in my opinion, just a little bit higher quality, and it's going to basically provide you all the same functionality and all the same tools that this does for a much lighter package and a little bit more compact package. The Juice S2 weighs only about 4.5 ounces, so you're saving about an ounce and a half. And so I would check out that tool if you're in the market. Another good tool, if you want more of this, kind of full-size package, and you're in the market for that, I would maybe check out the Leatherman Sidekick or the Wingman. Those are, basically the same tool, just a little bit slightly different tool sets in those. These are really nice tools. Now, obviously, this one I've painted. They come with a clip on there. I took that off, but I do like the clip. They don't come with as nice of a sheath, but again, with the clip, you can just kind of clip it to your pocket and carry it that way, which is really nice. So check out my review on the Sidekick. I really like this tool, and it's actually just a little bit cheaper than this. So it's right in the same ballpark. You have one-hand accessible blades with better steel. So this is a really good stiff competitor to the Gerber. Another tool to check out is going to be, again, the Leatherman Blast. This has, much more tools and much more capability than this Gerber. It's going to be just slightly more expensive. I think these go maybe more around 40 to 45. But, it's 2 ounces heavier, and it provides a lot more functionality. You're going to have a file, a saw, longer drivers, a lanyard loop. That's something that this is lacking, and it comes with a great sheath too. This Leatherman comes with this nylon sheath right here. That's a really well built, very nice sheath. So there's some really stiff competition out there, but if you like that, really quick deploy, one-hand pliers, you're going to use your pliers all the time, and that's important to you, then this might be just the ticket. But just to prove the point, you can open these these more traditional tools with one hand if you have to. Not quite as quick, but if you have to get it done, it's not that hard. You can just pop it open, and this Leatherman Blast is like brand new out of the box, so it's still pretty stiff, and I can still get it open like that. So it's just a little bit faster with the Gerber. So if you have any questions about these, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'd be happy to help you guys out with these tools. I'll just end with maybe a little bit of a size comparison to some knives and stuff. This is a Spyderco Delica 4. That's kind of a size comparison. And we'll get you the Kershaw Leak. So there you go. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. Really appreciate it. And everyone have a nice day.